There is no such thing as security, and yet we search everywhere for safety and guarantees, trying to do the impossible and control the uncontrollable nature of reality, and we pay the price in high anxiety and pain. We are all the same in our suffering and in our fears. But there is a more powerful way to live, to solve the problem of being alive. We have the magic power of choice and the amazing godlike ability to command inner peace based on our decisions and not on conditions, on our reaction to problems and not the problems themselves. So, if we can retrain the mind and re-educate the soul, we can lift up beyond mediocrity, say yes to it all, and from our hearts shout, "Dear God, bring it on, I can handle it all." This is the highest form of security. I'm Audrey Hope. Please join me on this next episode of Real Women with my very special guest, Dr. Susan Jeffers, who will share profound insights and practical tools to help us know that we can be happy in spite of uncertainty or because of it, and we can transform our deepest fears into inner. And I notice security that so many people are lost because they don't have a reason to live. And he also talks about you can't go after happiness. Happiness ensues when you have that purpose in life. And that is enough to truly carry you forever.
Right.
It has carried me too.
Yeah, and it's about giving it away.
Yes.
Giving it away. Instead of worrying, which is our upset, what we're going to get, what we're going to get, what we're going to get. Instead, if we're always giving it away, and appreciating, of course, what comes to us, but if we see that,
what we can give to life, not what we're going to get.
Yes.
And again, that's
think of the pressure that takes off of you.
Right. And in your book, Susan, you mentioned so many exercises. How many exercises?
42. I think that was a record.
Okay, wow.
When I finished the book, and as I said, just as I finished it, September 11th happened, I remember everybody around me so upset. I had an intense sense of calm. And I think it was because I had just finished really working with this book, working with the exercises. And I was so into, you know, embracing whatever happens in life.
Like you say, let's go over a few of the exercises. I wonder, instead of
I hope.
I hope, or I wish,
yeah,
or
I wish,
want.
I want, I desire, etc. You know, instead of, oh, I hope my kids grow up great. I wonder how my kids will grow up. Or, I hope I never get sick. I wonder if I'll get sick. You know, knowing you will handle it all. See, that's the key. But it's wondering, and I liken it to sitting in a movie theater, and this great film that's been touted, and you don't want to know the ending. You want to let it unfold. And if we could think of the story of our lives in just that way, wouldn't that be delicious?
Right, as an observer almost.
Almost, and
it
it
would
takes
stop
you
the
out
drama,
of the drama.
like you said, the
Takes you out of
drama.
the
We're
drama.
so into the
We're so
drama.
into the drama.
Oh, the other exercise I love that you do is you cut the cords.
Oh, yeah.
I work with that a lot, with energy. Cutting the cords. Women do that a lot too. They cord on to the man. And so the exercise, you have to cut the cord, let go of the expectations.
Take a big breath.
Which is kind of like Buddhism, isn't it?
Yeah, and the only reason that one could argue that people are unhappy is they want things to be different than they are.
Wow. Take a moment with that one. If that isn't the prime reason that we suffer.
And I think Buddhism teaches us that when we can let things be and take it, as I said, make something great out of it. Let it be as it is.
Wow.
And work with it. That doesn't mean we can't change what isn't working in our lives.
Which makes me think of, let's talk about men.
Oh, men. That's my favorite subject.
Let's talk about the mistakes that women make.
I made a lot of them, yes.
Did you?
Except marrying the present husband. He's the most wonderful person that ever lived.
Right. But tell us about
But I had to practice a lot.
I love that quote, if I can remember it, that our capacity to love is based on our capacity for independence.
Independence, yeah. I think that a lot of people are unhappy in relationships, both men and women, when they're needy. And needy people can't love.
So true.
They really can't, you know, because they need, they don't love. And as we become free of that need for people to fill us up,
Yes.
to give us, like children, really, then we can love. And we could be there because we want to be there, not because we have to be there. And it's a very beautiful place to be. Now, it took me a long time.
Okay.
I had been married the first time for 16 years, and my poor sweet ex, who we're very, very friendly now. But
Wonderful.
It is wonderful. But I was needy, and I made all sorts of expectations, and I was very self-righteous and blah, blah, blah. And it was after, by the way, I had breast cancer that I thought to myself, what could be an emotional state that could have given me disease in my body? Dis-ease. I love dis-ease. And I decided maybe I'm an angry person.
Right. Okay.
So I worked on my anger, and I realized that under anger is a lot of fear, a lot of pain, a lot of not taking responsibility for your life. I worked on all that, and ultimately I really did learn to open my heart to men, and that came my book, Opening Our Hearts to Men, and it was the result of all my experiences, what I learned. 42 men later,
Did you count
counting. After so many people I broke up with, I thought, they can't all be bad.
So what was so different with Mark? Why was Mark so different?
Well, by that time, I had learned to take responsibility. And I know that by that time, if I felt I was in an angry place or this place, I didn't put the blame on him. I picked up the mirror instead of the magnifying glass. Ooh. Every time I use that tool with an audience, they go, ooh.
Yeah, I love that.
Pick up the mirror instead of the magnifying glass. Susan,
beautiful.
what are you doing? How are you reacting? There's the reaction again to life. And using it to make yourself more loving, more powerful. By the way, when it comes to women, I think a lot of women don't understand the concept of power. A lot of people are scared about it. But what I mean by power is knowing that you can handle whatever happens to you in life and feeling very strong about that. But it's only when you feel that way that you really can be loving. So power and love go so hand in hand. So by the time I married Mark, I felt very, very powerful and learned in that I could find a very deep, deep love.
Wow.
And when you love, it's reciprocated. I also knew that if it didn't work, I was okay.
You were at that point where it was okay.
It was
It's the wholeness. It's like the wholeness of both of you coming together.
Exactly.
And then attracting really where you're at.
I have to say, we work in the
Yes.
same office, okay? But we send love notes. This is after almost 20 years of marriage, on emails. In the computers. He's in one room, I'm in the other.
Wow,
And the lessons I learned is you have to really validate and really love another person, and you get it most of the time returned in,
And also,
multiples.
women have such an amazing, men too, the intuition.
Yes.
And intuition has really played a part in
Very
your
big
life.
part
and
in my
just
life.
that story really touched me about when you worked at the floating hospital in New York
it gives
City.
me the chills, that
Yes.
story, because it was so phenomenal.
Tell
I
us
had been
about it.
on my own spiritual path for, I would guess, about 10 years, learning and changing and growing in workshops and workshops. But I was changing.
We're shaking because
familiar?
even people in the audience here are saying, we all have that
Right.
one,
And I was executive director of the floating hospital in Manhattan at the time. And at one point, I decided I'm going to practice intuition. So that when anything came into my head, I'm going to do it. Okay. So I'm sitting in my office, and the thought came into my head, go to the New School for Social Research in Manhattan.
It was a thought or a voice?
It was a thought. Thinking, the New School? I don't even know where it is, but they must have a great workshop that I should be taking. So I go to my secretary, I said, I'm going to the New School. She said, why are you going there? I said, I have no idea. And I put on my coat, I went, got in a cab, he took me to the New School, stood in the lobby, said, all right, I'm here, where am I supposed to go? Human Resources Department, that seemed like a good place. I went up there, nobody was in the entryway, and a voice from the right says, can I help you? And I walked in, and I kid you not, Audrey, this voice from inside of me says, I'm here to teach a course on fear. And it's like, the Twilight Zone. Where did that come from? And she looked up, this, who I found out later was the head of the department,
Right.
and said, oh my God, I have been searching for somebody to teach a course on fear, and today's the last day to put it in the catalog, and I have to leave in 15 minutes. Quick, after she got my credentials, give me a course description. And I called it Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And she walked out, put it on her secretary's desk, put it in the catalog, and she leaves, and I'm standing there. What just happened? What just happened?
Oh, what a story.
And it changed my life.
It did.
It totally changed my life. So it's wonderful to use intuition. I have a 14-step mini course in Embracing Uncertainty because I think it's so important. Because somehow we have an inner intelligence. And if we could get our mind out of the way and let that inner intelligence come out, and I think our inner intelligence is connected to other people's energies. And somehow if we follow it, and I know everybody who's out there knows of points in time where something crazy like that happened and say, wow. And if we can hone our trust in that and practice it.
Like, what would be a good way to do that, Susan?
Well, first of all, as I said, just ask our subconscious mind to tell us what we're supposed to be doing.
Just be still, almost be quiet. Oh, you talk about the gap in between the thoughts. I love that.
Yes.
And I also love the no breath, and the silence, the no breath.
The silence, and we have so much chatter going on in our mind we can't possibly hear.
Yes. Constant chatter. I love the way you describe it in the book. As with that snowflakes.
Oh yeah, the little snowballs. It's so cluttered, and what you have to do is let all that clutter come down, so we're clear, and then we're able to listen to what we're supposed to do. It's interesting. I got a letter from a man after Embracing Uncertainty. It came out in Britain first, by the way. And I talked about the radio waves that seem to be when it comes to intuition. And he said, scientifically you're not far off. We do have, an energy that extends far beyond our skin. Very interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost, it's physics almost.
Yeah, so it'd be fun. By the way, use it all as fun. Play with it. Have a friend maybe that you could work with. This is really important because we forget. We fall back, but we could remind each other all the time. Like, one of my favorite affirmations is, it's all happening perfectly. The world could be falling apart, and I'm going, it's all happening perfectly. So if I'm lamenting something, I'm talking to a friend, Susan, what you keep telling me, it's all happening perfectly. And it's true, when we can see that we can make something out of everything, it is all happening perfectly.
Wow. So affirmations, Susan, too,
They're very powerful.
They're very powerful, but they need to be in the positive form, as if they've already happened.
Well, it's all happening perfectly means the process is taking place as it should, for example. Or absolutely one of my favorites is, whatever happens, I can handle it. I'll handle it. I'll handle it. I'll handle it.
Do you say this? So you say it over and over and over again.
You have to, and you know why? I mean, it makes sense. Because you have all this chatter in your mind. Okay. And you need to break the habit of listening to the chatter. You have to listen to a much more positive voice that comes from the higher part of who we are. And that's what the affirmations do.
Right.
They simply replace the chatter. And they give us a different energy inside. We attract different people when we walk into a room and said, I'm here to make people feel good.
Wow.
It's sending out this wonderful, beautiful, radiant energy.
Wow, so we're going to do that with this show. We're going to send out this beautiful energy.
Yeah.
I love that. The light, just
Send the
right
light
out into the audience. And so you all feel the love and the absolute joy to be able to embrace uncertainty. I want to thank you, Susan, so much. This has been so wonderful. I've learned so much from you.
Thank you
I
so
really,
much.
truly appreciate
Thank
your books. And this new book, recommend to everyone, please get the book, Embracing Uncertainty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. And this show is dedicated to life-altering perspectives that can transform our world. I'm Audrey Hope. Thank you for joining me.